Awesome, dudes! Welcome back to PLB Green. Today, I am doing something a little bit different. What's new? I was just driving around and I went through a suburb that was having a council cleanup. I did spot a big old bucket full of one of my favorite plants, aloe vera. I'm a huge fan of Nigel Saunders and he's got aloe vera bonsai. And that means I can do it too. He's very experimental. He does clip and grow similarly to me. And his aloe vera bonsai is beautiful. It's got all these aerial roots and it's really cool. But I'm going to do a forest of aloe vera with all of these free aloe vera. So let's get into it. Aloe vera are technically a succulent. So when you're pruning them, it's really important to give yourself some time, do the pruning that you want to do to the root base and the foliage as well, but don't plant them straight away. You need to give these plants time to scab over or heal their wounds before you plant them and start watering them. So I'm going to cut these today and we'll come back to them in 7 days' time. I'll start with all this dead stuff. So just go along here, trim the dead stuff, and you can see, even though aloe vera are not a traditional bonsai, after a while they get these kind of cool woody looking trunks or stems. And if you're doing a desert planting, they can look quite authentic and nice. I am going to take these bottom leaves off. They've gotten a bit damaged in transit, but also I don't want them to be too top heavy at the start of the planting. So I am going to take even the larger ones, like this one, right back. And you can see straight up the aloe vera sap. If you have any wound, oh, I actually have some burns. I burnt myself the other day. Ah, refreshing. Yes, yes. Make sure I don't rub the dirt into my open wounds, just the aloe vera sap. Ah, checks out. Thanks, aloe vera plant. So that one is gone right back. And even though I just took the bottom 5 or 6 leaves off and I left a pruning stump, those will just die away and peel off eventually. So I'll have an even longer stem or trunk to this one. I might just snip off a small part, tidy up the roots ever so slightly. There we go. Oh my goodness, look at this dude. Straight away, bottom leaves. Oh, the sap is amazing. I'm going to take them right back to the top 4 or 5 leaves. Take off all this dead stuff and the root base back to there. Off to dry, my friend. And I'm just going to repeat this process from the larger aloe vera right down to the smaller pups that I have. And if there isn't a damaged leaf up higher, I'm just going to take it off. Hey, look. It's a slug friend. Dude, what's up? Look at this guy. He's like, what's going on, man? Your hand is so dry. I need moisture to live. So cool. I reckon slugs get a bad rap. If you sit and watch them, they're actually pretty interesting. Look at this guy. He's like a living muscle tendon. He's sick. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. That wouldn't hurt him, for sure. So this process is speeding up now. small, I don't know about that guy. Bye. Some of these smaller ones are really intense. Nah. Potential. This guy's more of a medium-sized one. But some definite potential here. Quite a nice trunk. Keep him. Hey, what the heck? Didn't I flick you into oblivion? Or is this your brother? I don't know, man. Slugs are pretty... No. Slugs can be pretty shady, man. You seem to just appear out of nowhere. You think you see the last of them, and then they're all of a sudden, next minute, there they are. All right, we're down to the last few. Getting to the really tiny guys. Yeah. Last one. This one doesn't even have any roots, but if I plant it, if I let the wound scab and I plant it, it should be fine. All right. We'll get back to you in 7 days, I guess. Yep.
Several days later.
It is officially 1 week later, and all of my aloe vera plants have scabbed over. All the cut points on the roots are no longer bleeding sap, and the same goes for all of these leaves. You can see that they've dried up and they're kind of crispy. That's a really good thing because no moisture will get in and nothing will rot away after we plant them. Big range in size, from the biggest right down to some of the smaller specimens, which will look really good in a forest. Also, I have a range of rocks. I want to go for a desert vibe, as they are succulents. My rocks range from really large down to medium down to really small. When you're doing a landscape, in my opinion, it looks more realistic if you have a large variation in size, but not much variation in color. So even though these medium-sized rocks are not sandstone, they're river pebbles, and the same with these little ones, they're a consistent color with the sandstone. There are reds and browns, and the range of rocks are all a similar shade. There are variations of reds and whites, but they're similar. This is the pot I'm going to be using. It's just a plastic training pot, but it's a nice size. It's kind of a miniature forest, and if I like the aloe vera forest, I'm going to be transferring it to a nicer pot, but this is a bit of an experiment, so we're going to be testing it out. We'll plant them in here, and we'll see if I like it, and give it a year or so, and if it appeals to me, I might transfer it to a nicer bonsai pot. First step though, is to put in our fly screen drainage, and we're going to cover those drainage holes so this soil doesn't fall out. Placing my fly screens down, make sure they're not a metal or aluminium fly screen. You want to make sure you get a plastic fly screen. We're going to put down a thin layer of bonsai soil, and this will lock down or hold down the fly screens. So I've got my larger tree placed here at the front, and that's because you want to have a forced perspective. The larger trees in the front and the smaller trees in the back makes it look like a larger landscape. And I'm going to have my larger rocks at the front as well. Now, this is a large rock, and it's going to make the planting very heavy. But I'm okay with that. It's a small planting, if you think about it. So what I'm going to do is place this rock on an angle with this tree kind of leaning against it, and then I'm going to place some soil around the root base, helping to secure it in place. For now, because this tree is very top heavy and falling forward, I'm going to find a contact point between it and the larger rock. I'm going to take this super glue, and this super glue is safe in aquariums for fish and plants. So I'm just going to put a tiny dab of it there, hold the plant against it, give it 10 seconds to cure. The next step is to move on to a smaller aloe vera. I don't know if I'm going to be using all of these specimens. There's a lot here. I can use some of them in a different planting or just plant them in a stock pot. I'm looking for the ones that have a really interesting shape. Oh, I like this one. I like the curve on it. Now it is a larger one, so I'm going to put it towards the front. Maybe crossing over the big one here. So I also like the way its trunk kind of joins the rock down there. Push it down, bury its roots a little bit. And then using my trusty old super glue, I think we need to move down to a smaller, no, that guy's kind of cool. They're still quite large. I don't know how many of these we're going to use. Maybe I'll go a large in the top right, the front right hand corner, and use the second rock towards the front. I do like these large sandstone rocks. I like their color variation. And I can tuck this guy underneath, kind of, sort of, but also touching the rock. Let's put a bit of soil down in here just to secure that guy. Make sure there's no gaps in the roots, so there's no air gaps. See how that one dab of super glue really helps in stability? And by the time the super glue wears out, the aloe vera will have developed a strong enough root base to stand up on its own in that position. So that's why I like using it in bonsai. Ooh. Hello there. Oh yeah, I kind of like that guy. There. Find the contact points. Put some soil in to secure its roots. Magic red cup of life. It's a brother of the magic red scissors of life. That looks pretty cool. It's like, kind of reminds me of like the labyrinth or something. Maybe this guy back here, attached to this back of the root. Finding some contact points. Put some soil in to secure its roots. Down like that. Oh, it's looking crazier and crazier by the minute. I love it. Okay, let's move down the line. What do we got? No. Next one. Okay. Potential. Nice curvature to it. What about back here? It'd be cool to create like a pathway in through the front and then to the right here. So we want a thick maze of aloe vera before that. all going in different directions. So maybe here, contact point to the rock. A little bit of soil to secure its roots. Make sure you get rid of all of those air spaces between the roots. Spin around to the front. Oh, it's looking most epic. Yes, yes. And what up, dude? What about back here? Nah. This guy? Oh, he'd be cool. He'd be cool. He's still kind of a medium size. We could go like there. Nah. Next in line. What about this guy? We could do this guy like towards the front. We don't want to block that path, or we could do it back here and crowd this really thickly back here. Kind of like that. Put some soil in to cover these roots back here. And I think it's time, because we have all of the large and medium aloe vera in, I think it's time to build the soil layer up a bit. And then we can start working on some of these medium rocks and putting some of the smaller aloe vera plants in. We want to keep this kind of pathway clear, but if I take some smaller rocks, I can kind of wedge them in, find the front of the rock and wedge them in to help the pathway form. Maybe that one. One here. Like that. And maybe this one here. Oh yeah, I like that one. This one. There. All right, let's work on the back. Put this, take some soil out. Let's rock in here. And this one. Yeah, it's perfect. Contact point. Plant the last few aloe vera we have. So this one can come under here. Contact point. Back to the front. Oh, it's starting to look crazy cool. Let's build this forest up back here. More rocks. Maybe this one here on an angle with this guy coming up there. I think we need another one here. So I'll put a rock there and I might put in, yeah, this guy. Like that. That's the front, looking thick. I did want to finish off to the right hand side with a couple of little guys. A couple of these rocks there. Oh, that guy's looking a bit sad. Maybe this little guy. Put him in and under. And that is the end of the planting. Time to cap this thing off with sand and then place some of these smaller stones on top of the sand to create more perspective. We are up to the final touches. So far, I didn't expect it, but man, this is sick. I love it. I can't wait for this crazy creation to grow in, and oh man, aloe vera, who would have thought? So, right here I have some river sand. I'm gonna cap the whole planting, all of the soil, with a, I'd say 1/2 centimeter cap of river sand. I'm just gonna use my hand here. It's gonna be tricky, but as I go through the planting, I'm just going to gently scatter the sand over the top. I really want to keep that pathway through the middle of the planting, and it doesn't matter if the sand heaps up on some of the stones or the rocks, because when I water it initially, all of that sand will settle down and kind of find its place in the planting. So we're going for a desert vibe here. As I said earlier, aloe vera are succulents. So we really want to make sure that this whole planting doesn't look tropical. To do that, the sand makes it look more like a desert scape. I've made a mess. What's new? But I'm going to place some of these smaller stones down around the larger ones. The watering. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I wasn't expecting it, but I'm mildly impressed with my aloe vera forest planting. Please click the like button, and join the PLB Green team. Let's go. See you later.